Coming in at number 10, we have Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday is a 6'4" shooting guard that starts for the New Orleans Pelicans, and this upcoming year will be very interesting the type of role that he will play for a team that is starting to rebuild. Fortunately for this young Pelicans team, Holiday is extremely well versed when it comes to both sides of the floor, can defensively defend potentially 2 to 3 different positions, and offensively he is very well inept at creating his own and also spacing out the floor from behind the arc. Now, there are some flaws in Holiday's game. He isn't the greatest scorer out there, especially when it comes from creating his own shot from deep, and also he's not the greatest finisher either. However, when it comes to just having a presence on both ends of the floor, Holiday can provide that, and there's not too many other players on this list who can say they're able to do the same. Up next, we have DeMar DeRozan, and my oh my, how things have changed for this 6'7" star guard for the San Antonio Spurs. DeRozan is a shot-creating 2 guard who specializes in the mid-range area and has struggled at times, especially in recent history, to consistently knock down the 3 ball. Defensively, he has been up and down, but for the most part, he hasn't been anything special. However, last year, we did see a massive improvement in his playmaking ability, in which he had a career high in assists with 6 a game. But when it comes to DeMar DeRozan just as a player, quite honestly, the impact that he used to have several years ago just isn't felt in today's league. With guards having more presence from behind the arc, and majority of 2 guards are also specialists when it comes to playmaking as well, quite honestly, there's nothing really that separates DeMar DeRozan from the field. Up next, we have Zach LaVine, who was a 24-year-old shooting guard for the Chicago Bulls, and after trying to bounce back from an ACL tear that altered his career very early on, he had a bounce-back season last year in which he was fairly impressive in many spots throughout the season, and also it seems as if he's going to be able to build off of that success in this upcoming year, as the Bulls more than likely will need a scoring output, as well as his versatility when it comes to playmaking, as he started to gain those responsibilities over the past several months. The thing that obviously concerns a lot of people about LaVine is his ability to defend consistently. However, that really shouldn't take away from what he brings on the floor offensively, as he not only can bring you 20 to 25 points on a night-to-night basis, but also is a lethal threat from behind the arc, as he was able to convert on 37% of his shots from deep last season as well. Hopefully the young guard will continue to progress as a ball handler and playmaker, because even though yes, 4.5 assists is fairly impressive for somebody his age, turning the ball over 3 times a game is pretty excessive and something that definitely should be addressed moving forward. Nevertheless though, I still believe LaVine has a very bright future, and hopefully he'll be able to continue to build in this upcoming year. Coming in at number 7, we have Donovan Mitchell, and very similar to Zach LaVine, you hope to see the same type of progress on a year-to-year basis. Now last year, Donovan Mitchell had a very up and down season. In the beginning of the year, he struggled significantly as the Utah Jazz's schedule was relatively tough. However, towards the tail end of the year, he was able to bounce back pretty strong and had a really good closeout to a season in which the Utah Jazz desperately needed his scoring output. Now when it comes to scoring, Mitchell's impact on his team has been desperately needed extremely early on in his career, in large part due to the Utah Jazz missing out on Gordon Hayward in the same offseason in which they drafted Mitchell. However, in this year, we would like to see a bit more balance offensively in the backcourt with Mike Conley now on the team, and also some other additions to the Utah Jazz that should take away some stress and responsibility from Mitchell. Because of this, you would hope to expect Mitchell would improve defensively, which is something that I'm expecting, and also his ability to make the right passes, which should open up the floor for him and potentially just become a more efficient scorer. Coming at number 6, we have Jimmy Butler. Now, Butler is a 30-year-old 2 guard who now plays for the Miami Heat after concluding a very interesting season in Philly and a couple of games in Minnesota. Now, after making that transition to Philly, we did see a little bit more versatility offensively from Jimmy Butler, which is great because it was very fascinating to watch him interact with other star players such as Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and him having the ability to take a back seat when it comes to scoring, almost to the point where some nights he was the 3rd or 4th option, while also picking up some responsibility in the playmaking department, which should be able to cross over into this year with the Miami Heat, as they have a level of versatility on the perimeter that I do believe a lot of people are overlooking. And also Jimmy Butler, his scoring output should go back up to where it once was before, if not higher, just all depending on the pace in which the Miami Heat will play at. However, the one thing that definitely separates Butler from everyone else below him has a lot to do with what he can bring to the table defensively. Defensively, Butler has the ability to potentially defend 3 different positions, and also his competitive nature may be harsh at times, which may have been a turnoff to some of his prior teammates, such as those in Minnesota. However, I do believe his competitive nature will be appreciated more in Miami, and it will have a longer lasting impact with a young team that is looking to make a massive shift in the Eastern Conference in this upcoming year. Coming in number 5, we have Devin Booker. Now, when it comes to Booker, it is extremely hard to gauge how talented of an individual he is, and a lot of that has to just do with the team he plays for. For the past several years, Phoenix has been bad. Let's just keep it as simple as that. And because how poorly managed this organization has been, I do believe that Booker has benefited statistically in many regards, especially when it comes to scoring. However, I do believe that shouldn't take away from what he actually brings to the table, and offensively, especially when it comes to his playmaking ability, which has improved significantly over the past handful of years. He is extremely impressive. But the one thing that really held me back from putting him even further on this list has a lot to do with his lack of effort on the defensive end. However, the one thing that I do believe that's going to be extremely interesting this upcoming year is the level of efficiency that Booker should be shooting at now, since he does have a backcourt mate in Ricky Rubio that should give him some better looks. Coming in number 4, we have Luka Doncic. Now, my apologies to all the Dallas Maverick fans out there, because I didn't know this until opening night, but Luka is actually starting at the point guard position, so this list is a bit outdated, unfortunately. However, my viewpoint on Luka and where I have him rated and the reasons why I have him rated still stands. Luka is a very well-versed guard in this league, and standing at 6'7", there are just certain things that he can do that other players on this list, quite frankly, just can't. Offensively, he's a powerhouse, and last year we saw it just in his rookie season alone, and adding a piece like Porzingis to the table should not only space out the floor for him, but also should relieve some of that pressure that he's feeling from opposing teams' defense. Furthermore, when it comes to filling out the rest of the stat sheet outside of him just scoring and facilitating, Doncic is extremely impressive in that area as well. The one thing that I'm finding a bit concerning about Doncic is his ability, or lack of ability, to stand in front of his man defensively, which is, again, really concerning. However, I think he does make it up for everything he does on the offensive end of the floor, and in this upcoming year, I can easily see him having a season that is relatively similar to what we see in LeBron, averaging 25 points, around 7 to 8 rebounds, and 7 to 8 assists, because I'm just expecting that type of output from Doncic and all-around impacts on the game. And quite frankly, I actually believe that the Dallas Mavericks will be very impressive this upcoming season, and with that, they should be able to propel him higher on people's lists because his impacts will be so undeniable. Now, coming in at number 3, we have Bradley Beal, who honestly, I might regret putting this high on this list. Now, don't get me wrong, last year the 26-year-old two-guard had a very impressive season in which many people were arguing if he should actually make an All-NBA team. However, I don't really know if these numbers are ever going to translate to anything of significance. Granted, it's not his fault that his running mate in John Wall is suffering from a career-altering injury. However, it does beg the question that would Bradley Beal be able to put up these numbers if John Wall was still playing for this team? And I do believe last year, even though the numbers are relatively meaningless, you did see a lot of improvement from Bradley Beal in many areas, most noteworthy being his ability to handle the ball and play make, and also consistently go out there and still give you a career high in points per game, despite missing someone who you would think to set him up in John Wall and give him easy buckets. Now, his level of efficiency from behind the arc did dip a bit. However, his ability to get to the rack, finish really strong, was something that was very impressive and something that added a dynamic to his game offensively that we should hope to see continue in this upcoming year. And also defensively, I do believe he's a bit better than a lot of the players that I have below him, especially those who just don't really give that much effort on that side of the ball. Now, coming in at number 2, we have Paul George, and I know Paul George has never really played the two-guard up until now. However, due to the situation that he finds himself in, he obviously is going to play way more two-guard than he normally does, and because of that, that's why he's on this list. And quite frankly, I don't really think I have to do too much explanation about Paul George. Last year, he had a career best in many regards: scoring, efficiency, still an elite level defender, great rebounder for his position and size, and also when it comes to just well-rounded play, not only was he a candidate for MVP before he suffered his injury, but also was in the conversation to win Defensive Player of the Year. But the huge reason why I don't have him number 1 on this list has a lot to do with his injuries and potentially his inability to go out there and have the same impact that he did last year, since he's not going to be the best player on his roster anymore. And then coming in at number 1, to no one's surprise, we have James Harden. Again, I don't really think I have to do too much explaining to why James Harden is number 1 on this list, but James Harden, 6'6" or 6'5" shooting guard for the Houston Rockets. He's been arguably the best shooting guard in this league for the past 5 to 7 years now, which again is a compliment and a testament to how great of a player he has been throughout his time in Houston. Last year, he had a ridiculous season when it comes to scoring. His step back 3-point shot is is laughable at times, but also very fascinating and interesting how he's able to get that off consistently. And also his ability to attack the basket, create contact, and get to the foul line is a level of pressure that he puts on a defense that can rival literally some of the greatest players of all time at their peaks. So with all that being said, people, please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. I know there's going to be a lot of people going to be upset about a couple of names that aren't on this list, so, let me hear about it in the comment section. Also, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and again, if you missed my top 10 point guards list, I will have it on the screen right now somewhere, so you should be able to click on it and enjoy my top 10s list when it comes to point guards. But until next time, I will see you all later. Peace.